Notice in criticism of what left wing shows that the vaguely, I guess, consider them. I'm not even sure like calling people left wing or right wing is exactly the right. It's more like the politically incorrect people, whether they be on the left or right. We're talking about these kind of like woke shows, and the right wing always called them. Oh, when they come out, they go, oh, these shows suck because they suck. You can look at it right off the bat. It's not like a couple years later you're gonna go back. Go, oh, I didn't really. It's no. You look back on the show, it's like, oh, it was worse than I imagined. It sucked then. It really sucks now. But I'm reading in some of these criticisms of these shows, people are talking about finally the left wing kids finally are coming out and admitting that, oh yeah, 2015 Star Wars, but Disney Star Wars, and 2016 Ghostbusters, and a bunch of other shows they're kind of going back and looking at because they're talking about The Witcher, Blood Origin. They go, those shows weren't very good, and these are left wing people saying them. They're going just because the the Hugo Boss Chad said those shows were bad. It's like, yeah, they didn't like those shows, but in retrospect, the shows weren't very good. But they didn't like the Chads didn't like the shows, but they didn't like them for the wrong reason. And we don't like the shows for presumably the right reason. But it took them, a couple years for them to come out and say that. Though I will say that with The Witcher Blood Origin, everyone is coming out and saying like, yeah, it's just is not very good. But the left wing kids are still mad at the right wing kids or people who are saying, yeah, the show's not good. Oh well, the thing is, it used to be the left wing used to be, and it still is mostly very reactive to the right wing. So I mean, the right wing can come out with almost any, like if the right wing hardcore became like environmentalists, like really hardcore environmentalists, which I mean would focus on India and China, right? The left wing would de facto come out. They would have to find a way to twist it, come out against it. Like the right wing, oh hey, the what they're doing to the rhinos and elephants in Africa. It's the Chinese are working with the Africans to slaughter those animals, and the right wing suddenly came out against that. The left wing would have to find a way to not get on board with that because they're reactive. And where the right wing is more likely, I'm not saying all the time, I'm just saying more likely to go, oh, we have a common goal here. Let's work together in this common goal. And the left wing is more likely to say, no, 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 we can't. We have to. It's why if you have a live streaming show and you interview people and you go, yeah, it's like Politically Provoked was on YouTube. They were doing this. And a bunch of other shows too. Even Timcast was doing it. They said that, the show's open to everyone. We want to talk to everyone on the left and the right. And the left wing is scared to make appointments to come on these live streams and talk to people because their own left wing will start to cancel them from going out there and appearing to be reasonable and talk. Like it used to be reasonable adults could have reasonable conversations. Just they could disagree without being disagreeable. So the left wing self-censors and they're scared of the further left wing, so they don't want to go out and talk on these shows because they might slip up and the left wing will destroy them for it. So the shows inevitably only have moderates or libertarians or true liberals who don't give a darn, or right wing, or far right wing, or the furthest right wing, because those are the only people who are free to talk. And so the left wing is they want to censor everyone, but they also end up censoring themselves. And you go like, this is a free speech platform. If you're on the left, you want to come talk on a live stream, like here's the call in number. It's like you can have your allotted time. It's like, yeah, we just like you're scared of being canceled by your own groups. Like if you're not in a group that supports free speech, I think you're in control of those. You're in control of those who do control the gatekeepers. Anyway, so my point was that even left wing kids are starting to say that woke shows suck, but it took them like 5 years, 8 years to come out. Blood Origin, they looked at that and they go, yeah, it sucked right off the bat. But the other stuff, it's like just because the right says something's crappy, you can, mature adult will look at it and go, yeah, this is crappy. It's not a left or right wing issue. Ghostbusters 2016, you wasted those actors. You can say that was the director's fault. Star Wars, the thing is, the left can't say things are bad if the left wing movie is pushing like kind of a Bolshevik agenda. So the left wing can't really criticize them, but they also don't go and watch those movies. Anyway, so Wednesday, from essentially Muggles to Hogwarts, having a BLT character means that you're istophobic if you criticize it. First of all, this show could have been amazing. It's not. They can't make anything good in this current political environment, but this could have been darkly funny and sweet and sarcastic. Instead, it's blonde man bad. Let me just, like, as a blanket statement, it's kind of fair to say that everything coming out of the mainstream is going to suck now. Like, maybe something will slip through the cracks, maybe, but there's not going to be a whole lot that's going to slip through the cracks post 2020 soft Bolshevik revolution. So having a bitter, sarcastic character really works better when things are going better in the country, not when there. Like usually, fiction was escapist entertainment. You escape from the real world, and when the real world is just a replication of what's on Amazon and Netflix, well, then what exactly you're seeing the same propaganda pushed in shows that you're seeing in real life. It's just on a movie studio with sets and costuming. So before I turned on Wednesday, the Addams Family show, I knew it was going to be Blonde Man Bad. Well, you must be Nostradamus there, buddy, because that's what every show is. It's set in a high school. And don't get me wrong, the sets, the characters, the actors, everything is amazing. Like you have all the potential there, including the budget. You have everything there, and they just can't stick the landing because it's like, oh, we have this checklist of propaganda that we have to put in the show. It's like, okay, well then the show's gonna suck. So it's gonna be Blonde Man Bad, even if they literally have to dye the actor's hair like they did in Wonder Woman 1984 to show you that Pedro Pascal is the bad guy. And I guess it's just more than Blonde Man Bad. It's also an allusion to Trump. So in every movie, streaming show, or comic, it's always going to be Blonde Man Bad. That's really their core dogma. It's just what form it takes. It Will it be blonde man istophobic at a beach, being a bully to a marginalized and oppressed person of Landwell? Will it be intolerant blonde boy in a high school? Will it be evil blonde woman at a park? Perhaps evil blonde man in a pickup truck, or evil blonde scientist destroying the world, like in that South Korean horror movie I watched. No other evil people exist in Hollywood, only the German cliche from Central Casting. Even in Revenge of the Nerds, it was mostly the black haired nerds against the evil blonde fraternity. Once you notice it, you can never unnotice it. And Revenge of the Nerds is an interesting trilogy, I think. Maybe for Odyssey, Bit Chute, and Rumble. You'll never see Hollywood the same way. It's a propaganda machine designed to focus your hate away from all other groups and onto this one little narrow red herring to throw the dog off the scent. If it feels like you're being manipulated, you are being manipulated. Focus on this one narrow thing and only this thing. Don't lose focus. Don't look at anything real. Just focus on the blonde man in the pickup truck with the stars and bars. He's actually the most dangerous thing in America. He's the fomenter of discord, the Machiavellian machinator. He's the one who's pulling the strings. He's the man behind the curtain. He wields all power and authority. He has the power to bind and to loose. The blonde man in the 20-year-old pickup truck. He's the one you want to focus on. He deserves all your energy, all your emotional energy should be focused on him in your 1984-esque 2 minutes of hate. They want to tear down they don't want to tear down the 1%. Antifa seems to skip over the 1%. They want to kind of more tear down the 5 to 10% for some reason. They don't want you looking at that 1%. Really kind of makes you wonder whomst is funding whomst. So Bernie went from ranting against the millionaires to ranting against the billionaires. Okay, great. I guess we won't go eat the rich. We won't go after Bernie Sanders or Nancy Pelosi. So yeah, eat the rich, but not $150 million Nancy Pelosi, who's the best stock trader on earth. Yeah, that's insider trading. It's a breach of your fiduciary duty of due care and trust to we the people. Is anyone going to go after that? No. This is the end stage where they're looting the treasury. But we're not naming Soros, Schwab, Fink, or even Sam Bankman-Fried. Weird. So just do absolutely nothing. And we might vote more money to Ukraine, or maybe vote ourselves a raise. So no, focus on the middle class blonde man in the pickup truck. He's the source of everything, not the 1%. Ignore those guys. I feel like I got distracted a little bit, but it's all related. Anyway, so Hogwarts is gone because evil JK Rowling thinks that a man is not a woman. And honestly, if you're in the BLT community, like not everyone who's a shitlord hates you. Most people respect it if you just want to live your own life, fine. You're probably going to want to drop that whole turf war thing. Like if you're in that community, like there's like a 2% group in your community that you're just going to want to cut that anchor free, and let them go their own way. But I know you're not listening to this. The whole turf stuff is a bridge too far for like 95% of people. But I don't think you're listening to this channel. So with Harry Potter gone, the kids or adults with a desire to relive Harry Potter have Wednesday with a character that fits the bill for them. They hate everyone, and this character seems to do that while simultaneously looking cool doing it because she's an actor on a show. All TV is cancer, which I suppose is an odd thing for a pop culture channel to say. But life isn't a TV show. But for a certain type of audience, it weirdly becomes the newfound family for them. Because when you don't have strong connections, you're desperate to latch on to the ones that the puppet masters say are allowable. Yes, put all your energy into a TV show, a Netflix show. Well, whatever they're pushing is pretty much the opposite direction you want to go in. Building real community with your own in-groups and rejecting everything from globalist Hollywood. This show is horrible. It's every lame Mary Sue cliche on top of each other. Don't they ever get tired of being miserable? Apparently not. Here is, all those women's magazines are writing articles telling people to stay single and not have kids. Like you look at all the... Here is why everything in the mainstream is ruined. They put diversity in shows, but diversity has to follow the Marxist hierarchy, so that ruins the immersion and the willing suspension of disbelief. The whole circle is complete. They can't not do diversity, and they have to follow the Marxist hierarchy, so everything is going to be a cliche full of purse puppies and stereotypes. When the story, the alpha and omega of the story, is written, told, done, and done on the cover. Why? Because I can look at fair and dark and tell you who protagonist is and antagonist is. Is the correlation 100%? No, but it's very close to 100%. Where the dots on a chart, the correlation dots on the chart, they're almost all fall on the line. It's like it almost looks like a straight line. Oh, well, that kind of ruins storytelling, doesn't it? When it's like Scaramouche, the Italian story structure with the characters that follow the story structure. They're designed that way to fit a certain mold, and you see it in a lot of stories. It's kind of fine if it's like above board, like what you're getting. But this is something different. This cultural Bolshevism is something different. Are people dipping out of this? Yeah, I think they are. I mean, Hollywood lost $542 billion across the big producers last year in 2022, I think. So that's $500 billion. That's not $500 million. It's $500 billion. So yeah, that's an appreciable amount of money for anyone. I mean, to lose any amount of money for Hollywood is kind of weird because you should have an expanded audience base. But they lost quite a bit of money. So yeah, I guess it's fair to say that people are dipping out of this kind of stuff. Anyway, I mean, this show, you can find it online. No, I don't have Netflix or Amazon or any of those programs anymore. You can find all this stuff online. It's such a wasted opportunity. You had everything in place to tell a fun story. You could have been funny and fun. It's like not everything is this straw man version of the universe. There's a scene where the Pilgrims, talking about the Pilgrims, is like, oh, they're genocidal maniacs. So like every other group in human history, literally every tribe in Africa that would invade the tribe next door. Every tribe around the world would do that. That's human history. Oh, let's just focus on the Pilgrims. But to do that is disingenuous because you're ignoring every other tribe in human history was a competition for resources. It helped advance people. But, I mean, there's a scene with the Pilgrims. It's like you only put that in there. It's like, would you focus on any other group? Like, and then there's a funny thing because they mention the Aztecs in the story. It's like, yeah, okay, you want to go into the details on that story? And, it's like you shouldn't... like none of this makes sense because you're not telling the full side of the story, and it's not like this isn't 40 years ago. Like all you have to do is get on the internet, and you can go on Odyssey and Bit Chute and all these other channels if you want to watch a little video presentation of this or read a little history. It's like when the Woman King came out, it's the reason that bombed so fast, so far off the bat so immediately is because you pop online, it's like, yeah, the first dozen search results are going to be puff pieces. But then you go beyond that, you're like, oh, the Dahomey tribe actually, they were the bad guys. Oh, is there any way we can puff piece this? No, the Dahomey tribe was just the bad guys. And the French and the English, they were fighting to stop the trade in human beings. Oh, so they're the good guys? Yeah, the Europeans didn't start slavery, but they ended it. How do we tell that story? We don't. So you're going to take the facts and just tell something different? Yeah, it's going to be a reimagining of history. A reimagining. That's called propaganda, right? Like that's propaganda. And as it turns out, the Woman King was not the success that it could have been. The funny thing about the Woman King is like if you just told the story of the Woman King, the Dahomey tribe, it would have been a success because people would have been, well, that was that was what they did at the time. They just that was their values at the time. It's like that's just the reality. You can't, but it sends a message like, oh, you can't judge present people, or you can't judge the past by the morals and standards of the present because they're constantly evolving. Oh, but then how do we blame Blonde Man Bad? Oh, they paint themselves into corners with this kind of stuff all the time, and the way they the God in the machine to come out of their riggings and save themselves from the corner is they just change history. Oh, that's kind of deeply disturbing. Yeah, I know shit. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe. Thanks for all the support, and I'll see you guys all next episode.